And Israeli forces have launched a major operation in Judea and Samaria, targeting refugee camps known as bases for Palestinian terror activity. Bulldozers and cranes moved into the Nur Shams near Nablus, tearing down 25 structures. The military says the demolitions are part of ongoing operations to root out armed groups in northern Samaria, areas long used as centers for terror activity. The IDF stresses that these actions also improve access for the military following similar operations earlier this year in Nur Shams, Tulkarem, and Jenin, where weapons and ammunition stockpiles were destroyed. Defense Minister Israel Katz, speaking to senior IDF commanders, stressed the need to be ready for possible attacks on Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria, warning of scenarios similar to October 7th from this front. Katz called for expanding operations and taking control of additional refugee camps, citing the IDF's presence in Jenin, Tulkarem, and Nur al-Shams since early 2025 has cut terror activity by about 80%. All of this raises key questions about security, deterrence, and Israel's long-term strategy in Judea and Samaria. Joining me now to break this down is Yishai Fleisher, spokesperson for the Jewish Community of Hebron. Hi, Yishai.
Howdy, nice to be with you.
Thank you for joining. Now, Defense Minister Israel Katz warned of a possible October 7th style attack in Judea and Samaria. How realistic is that threat, and what scenarios are security officials preparing for, do you think?
We have upwards of 2 million Arabs living under the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority has been brainwashing generation after generation to hate Israel. It's really not very different than what you saw in Gaza. And here in Hebron, where I'm sitting right now, not only is it the Palestinian Authority, there's a big Hamas influence as well. So we know what Hamas is capable of. We know what they want to do. We know how they aim to achieve it. And now that they have a serious infrastructure built here, just like they had an infrastructure built in Gaza, they are preparing themselves for some kind of attack, because that's the ideology that they've been that we've allowed, that Israel's allowed to fester and to metastasize here in Judea and Samaria. Is the army ready for it? Well, the army is stronger today than it was 2 years ago on October 7th. It's much more of a strong, prepared army. And as you could see, as you spoke about, there's operations that are underway, but it's drops in the ocean of jihadism, which encircles Israel, and we've allowed to grow within Israel. If you want to stop jihadism, it's not just with guns. We've got to stop the money that flows into the PA and to Hamas, and the awful brainwashing and education that happens generation after generation. We have to stop that. In simple terms, we have to take control. That's the only way around here. If we allow them to have control like we did in Gaza, in Judea and Samaria, then the same thing that happened in Gaza will happen here, and we can't have that.
Now, the IDF says that terror infrastructure in this region, in Judea and Samaria, has been deeply embedded for years. Why did these refugee camps become such strongholds for armed groups, for terrorist groups, and what has allowed them to operate?
Yeah, the answer is, what has allowed them to operate in these refugee camps is the absence of Israel. When you give it over to the PA, that's what they do. Now, Sivan, I've got PA TV at home. I watch it sometimes. You need to only watch about 10 minutes. You start to understand this is 24/7 brainwashing. If you allow them to educate the kids, if you allow them to have arms that sneak in through Jordan or from the Negev, and in various ways, now there's a whole drone component to the arms transfer. So Prime Minister Netanyahu said there's 60,000 Kalashnikovs in Gaza. Well, last estimate that I heard from the police is that there are 400,000 illegal weapons, and each one of these weapons can kill. So, I don't want to paint a dark picture. I live in Judea and Samaria. We believe that we're going to hold on to this piece of land. We believe it's our ancestral homeland. We believe that Palestine seeks to destroy Israel, and certainly the Palestinian Authority seeks to educate anti-Israel. And I don't have to speak about Hamas. So the only way to deal with them is to push them back, to eradicate them. And I'm talking about the Hamas and jihad overlords. There are many people there Arabs who don't want to be part of this thing. In fact, just this afternoon, I'm going to go visit some Arabs around here that have a different perspective. But when you brainwash and you fund and infiltrate with weapons, well, then you're going to have jihad. That's the way it works. It's pretty simple, really. You have to be strong against these forces. If you don't, you're going to get another October 7th. It's simple.
God forbid. Now, right now, we're seeing that these anti-terror IDF operations taking place, and according to officials, terror activity has dropped significantly since these operations began. So now, what do you think is driving the reduction? Is it arrests? Is it weapon seizures? Is it deterrence? What is it exactly?
It's all of the above. And if you would also cut off the funding to the PA, if you also get rid of the jihadist ideology in mosques, in schools. You know, I lived in Eastern Jerusalem for a long time. Eastern Jerusalem on the Mount of Olives, one of the heartland places of the Jewish people. The education system there, PA controlled school books with hate. And so like, Sivan, I say we have to stop doing stupid things. If we allow funds to transfer to enemy ideology within our borders and on our borders, that this is what you're going to get. So there's this kind of, mow the lawn, piecemeal, let's do operations, and then we kind of pull back. Well, then it's just a cat and mouse game. We're not going to actually get rid of this hate. And I'm telling you that I represent Israeli nationalism. I represent, what some would call right wing. That doesn't mean I hate Arabs. And I tell you, there are tons of Arabs that are victims of this brainwashing and don't want jihadism for their kids. They don't want their kids to become suicide bombers. They want their kids to have a decent life, but they can't. And they say to me, "But you guys brought the PA on us. You brought these terrorists from Tunis, and they now control us. And now they're forcing our kids in schools and everywhere to be terrorists. If you want to get rid of that, it's time to think big." I also think that October 7th and the war after that is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to make a real change and not to do just the mowing the lawn and piecemeal and operations. They drop down by 80%, but the minute you stop the operations, they come back on. So, okay, so we'll if we play this cat and mouse game, we'll continue to do operations. We'll continue to make arrests, but we're not getting to the root. And you need a root canal here. You need a change. And that change will benefit Israel. It will benefit the Jews that live in Judea and Samaria, the resettlers, the people that come back to the land of Israel and hold on to it. And it'll also benefit many Arabs who want a decent life and want to actually be under Israel, including many sheikhs and muhtars, leaders of the Hebron community, have called to leave the PA and come under Israel. Our own security apparatus, our own Shabak, oftentimes scuttles these things because they like the old system. They know everybody in the PA, then they make their deals, and there's a system that's in place, but it's a bad system. It's a system that's going to lead us to continuous battles. Instead, let's go big. Let's bring sovereignty to Judea and Samaria. Let's bring it into the sphere of normal Israel. We Jews of Judea and Samaria, the so-called settlers or resettlers, that's not what we want to be. We want to be part of normal Israel. We're just waiting for the day that the state of Israel wakes up and realizes that the heartland should be part of the homeland.
Very interesting. I like the root canal metaphor. Now, just for the discussion, for the purpose of discussing, some critics say heavy operations like these risk fueling further radicalization, while some supporters argue that they're necessary for prevention. So what do you think?
I guess the people that think that operations like this will cause escalation have never stood up to a bully in their life. So they just don't understand that you have to stand up to bullies. And if you leave the bullies alone and feed them and pay them off and think that they're going to want peace or all they're looking for is Western economy, and they just want they want a Starbucks and I don't know what, a Walmart next to them. That's not what jihadist ideology is about. When you leave them alone, they prepare for war. They dig tunnels. And, the Netanyahu administration for a long time was funneling $15 million a month from Qatar to Hamas through Israel in order to mollify them, to calm them down, to make sure that they, have a good life and everything's going to be okay. And that ideology, that concept, what we call in Hebrew conceptia, led to October 7th. You cannot allow these things to metastasize. You got to get in there and you smash them and you push them back and you let good Arabs, decent Arabs that want to be part of Israel, you let them flourish, you let business flourish. That leads to prosperity. If you leave it alone, it will fester and become gangrene and dark, and it'll come at you. You just, you said before that 80% of terrorism has been reduced, which I think is an exaggeration. I think not that much has been reduced. You know, my wife said to me, she said it's like somebody coming out of the hospital being like, I got rid of 80% of the cancer. Well, 20% of the cancer is going to come back. So I guess root canal cancer. Bottom line is you got to fight evil. You got to engage it. That's the Israeli defense doctrine. You got to bring the war to them, and to have some creativity, to have a belief inside our minds that there can be a day after. There can be a day after Oslo. There can be a day where there is no PA. It could happen. We've seen such amazing changes in the last few years. Why can't this happen as well? Let's stop paying the PA. Let's stop having them govern the people that live on our land. We can figure this out. We can figure out how to deal with these people and give them decencies and opportunities, and jihadists will be pushed back, and the region will flourish. And everybody will thank Israel for pushing down, for coming down hard, just like other countries come down hard against the Muslim Brotherhood. We should be the first leaders in the free world of pushing down against jihadism, and the Arab world will thank you.
Now, just in a few words as we conclude, so looking ahead, do you believe Israel should maintain long-term military control in these areas?
Military control is step one. And step two is normalization of Judea and Samaria. Right now, it's our territories. Right now, the right way to refer to it is Judea and Samaria is Israeli territories, and we control them militarily because we have a population that has a lot of elements of jihadism in it. Of course, we have to keep military control, but we also have to grow the communities, the nascent communities here that are flourishing, from the Ariel in Samaria to Efrat in Judea to Ma'ale Adumim in Eastern Jerusalem. We got to grow these things. We got to push back on bad guys, grow this land, and then there's a great picture you're showing right now that looks beautiful. Love to see. I think that's Ma'ale Adumim. Looks great. And yes, Jewish life, when it flourishes, the Arabs prosper as well. Bad guys got to get pushed back with our army. And then finally, the goal is to have one whole country, to assert sovereignty over Judea and Samaria and make it part of normative Israel. That's what people like me think will bring security. That's the people I represent. That's what we think. And look how beautiful those images are. Just that brings joy to my heart. Just today, I saw a cement mixer, a big cement truck. I'm like, that's the future. That's peace. That's what we call redemption. We don't wait for redemption. We make redemption happen.
Rabbi Yishai Fleisher, thank you very much.
Thank you.